acknowledgement?
Yes.
So Gunna's release from prison has been a huge topic lately, right? From the whole situation with YSL being called a criminal gang to him, taking a plea deal and walking out of a RICO case, it's been a wild ride. And now, with Young Thug finally out of prison, people are wondering, is this going to be a big reunion or a rap beef waiting to happen? Honestly, it could go either way, and the internet can't stop talking about it. If you've been keeping up with rap, you know there's been a lot going on, but one thing that's really got everyone's attention is Young Thug's release. It's a pretty big deal, but what's even more interesting is whether he's out to settle things with Gunna. The drama between them could be the next big story, and it's got people on edge. Young Thug's release on November 2nd, 2024 came with his first tweet as a free man saying real plea deal, which didn't raise too many eyebrows, but then the next day, on November 3rd, he dropped a tweet that had everyone guessing. It said, "Wham, let's put one of these rodents on." Naturally, people started speculating, was he talking about Lil Baby, maybe a new collab, or was he throwing some shade at Gunna? If you're not up to speed on all this, let me catch you up. Gunna was caught up in that massive YSL racketeering case, which affected not just him, but a whole bunch of people at Young Thug's label. When he got arrested, fans showed massive support and hashtags like Free Gunna were everywhere. But the real shocker came when he took a plea deal. Gunna admitted that there was enough evidence to convict him, but he kept his innocence. It wasn't an easy choice, and that's when the rumors started. Some fans called him a snitch, especially after that video clip came out where Gunna acknowledged YSL's criminal ties. He even said, "I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly further YSL, the gang, to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end." That didn't sit well with a lot of people. After all the legal drama and public outcry, Gunna received a 5-year sentence, but with 1 year already served and the rest suspended. The sentence itself wasn't the part that made the most noise, though it was the timing and the fact that Gunna walked free while Young Thug remained behind bars. This was the turning point for many, as it stirred up the debate that had been simmering for months. Was Gunna a snitch? Had he betrayed the loyalty that YSL Young Slime life was built on? For a lot of fans, this felt like the ultimate betrayal. Gunna, once seen as a solid member of the YSL family, had seemingly taken a different path by cooperating with the authorities, while his longtime collaborator and friend, Young Thug, was still facing a tough battle in the courtroom. The reaction was immediate and intense. Fans, fellow artists, and even people within the rap community began questioning Gunna's integrity. In the world of hip-hop, loyalty isn't just an abstract concept, it's a core value. It's about sticking by your people no matter what, especially when things get tough. Gunna's decision to take a plea deal and testify in a way that could be interpreted as implicating others led many to label him a snitch. To them, his actions contradicted everything YSL stood for: solidarity, loyalty, and resilience. But as we know, the narrative around loyalty in rap is never simple. Some saw Gunna's plea deal as a strategic move to preserve his career and future, especially since his sentence was relatively light compared to what others in the YSL camp were facing. On the other hand, there were those who felt that no amount of legal maneuvering could justify the perceived betrayal. The divide between these two views was wide, and the tension only deepened when Gunna was out on the streets while Young Thug remained incarcerated. Fast forward to today, and things have shifted slightly. Young Thug has been released from jail, and now fans are left wondering what's next for the relationship between the two artists. Will they make up, or will the tension between them remain unresolved? It's been a topic of speculation ever since Thug was freed. The idea of a reconciliation between the two is intriguing, especially considering how tightly they were once bound by both their personal and professional lives. Together, they helped shape the sound of Atlanta and YSL, and their bond was seen as something deeper than just business. But with the public fallout from Gunna's legal actions, it's unclear whether that relationship can truly be repaired. The possibility of a reconciliation between the two could be exciting for fans who have followed their journey from the beginning. However, it's also possible that the scars of betrayal are too deep to ignore. Gunna's actions in court will always be a part of his legacy now, no matter how many albums he drops or how much success he finds in his solo career. Similarly, Young Thug's return to the spotlight after his release could shift the focus back to YSL's collective, leaving Gunna to navigate his path alone. One thing is for sure, though, this story is far from over. The drama surrounding Gunna and Young Thug is just another chapter in the complex, high-stakes world of rap where loyalty, trust, and betrayal can make or break careers. And with so much tension between them, the next move will be crucial. Whether we see these two join forces again or go their separate ways, the rap world is watching closely. The aftermath of their legal battles, the shifting alliances, and the impact on their careers is just beginning to unfold. Fans will be waiting for answers, and it's clear that whatever happens next, the drama won't die down anytime soon.
He just implicated YSL being a gang, so now his fat ass is home.
Man, Gunna went from being one of the crew to practically an outsider overnight. Fans started asking some serious questions, wondering if his plea deal made things worse for Young Thug, just when we thought things couldn't get any messier. Then, out of nowhere, Young Thug drops a bomb on October 31st, 2024. He takes his own plea deal and walks out a free man with 15 years suspended, but just 2 days later, he posts something cryptic on social media that got everyone talking. The timing was crazy, right? Thug and Gunna were pretty much like family repping YSL together. So when Thug posts about rats, people immediately thought it could be aimed at Gunna. But hold up, could there really be beef between them? Or is social media just doing what it does best and blowing things out of proportion? That tweet definitely had fans on edge, and knowing how Thug moves, we know he doesn't just post stuff like that without a reason. If there's shade being thrown, it's on purpose. Some people even think Thug might completely cut Gunna off, especially if he feels like Gunna's deal messed him up in court. Let's talk about loyalty for a second. In the rap world, loyalty is everything. It's not just about making music together, it's about having each other's backs no matter what. And with a crew like YSL, the unspoken rule is ride or die. So when Gunna took that plea deal, a lot of people felt like he broke that rule. Some people think what he did is unforgivable, while others say, hey, he did what he had to do to stay out of prison. It's all about survival, right? But in a culture that values loyalty above all else, it makes sense why people feel like Gunna let the team down. Is Thug hurt by it? We don't really know, but Gunna's attorney did mention that Thug was one of the few people Gunna wanted to stay in contact with while he was in prison. For now, all we can do is piece together what we see on social media and in their music. One thing's for sure, though, the snitch label Gunna's been hit with isn't going away anytime soon. And let's be real, none of this drama would even be happening if it weren't for the YSL RICO case. It's definitely one of the most talked about legal battles in rap history. Between the massive indictments, the celebrity drama, and all the rumors, it's been a roller coaster. And of course, it's all centered around one of Atlanta's biggest stars, Young Thug. But let's rewind and take a look at how the YSL crew went from dropping hits to getting caught up in a 56-count racketeering indictment. Trust me, it's a crazy ride, and you don't want to miss it.
We're here today about a grand jury indictment that was returned that included not just Jeffrey Williams, which is of some note.
All right, let's talk about YSL for a minute, especially for those who need a little refresher. YSL, which stands for Young Stoner Life, though some people say it's actually Young Slime Life, is a record label started in 2016 by Young Thug, Jeffrey Lamar Williams Jr. himself. What began as a group of artists coming out of Atlanta quickly grew into something much bigger than just a label. YSL turned into a movement, and before long, Young Thug was a name you couldn't escape in the rap game. But it wasn't just the music that made YSL stand out, it was the tight bond between the artists, especially between Young Thug and Gunna. Gunna even said, "That's my brother. He signed to me, but it's bigger than that. This is my real brother." Now, we all know that when there's that level of loyalty in the rap world, rumors start flying, especially when it gets linked to the streets. And that kind of loyalty, it brings in both the good and the bad attention. And on May 9th, 2022, YSL definitely got the kind of attention they didn't want when the Fulton County District Attorney hit them with a 56-count RICO indictment. This led to Young Thug being arrested. What followed were some serious charges: racketeering, conspiracy, attempted murder, drugs, you name it. Authorities claimed that Thug and YSL were running a criminal gang, and to fans, it was almost impossible to believe. How could this be the same Young Thug, the guy who made tracks like Stoner and was considered a trailblazer in the rap game? To his fans, this was all a huge shock. But prosecutors weren't having it. They were painting Thug as a gang leader and said they had all kinds of evidence to prove it, including his social media posts, lyrics, music videos, and even a threat he made to a security guard. Here's the thing, when you hear about RICO laws, you might think about mafia movies, but it's actually a lot broader than that. RICO laws let prosecutors go after entire organizations, so if even one person in a group is suspected of illegal activity, the whole crew can be charged. That's what happened to YSL, and that's how Gunna got pulled into this whole thing. Prosecutors weren't just after Thug, they wanted to bring down YSL as a whole. What used to be seen as just entertainment quickly became evidence in a case, and rumors were being turned into real charges. Fast forward a little to August 10th, 2022, and Thug is hit with 6 more felony charges. Then, on October 13th, just before his trial was about to kick off in January 2023, the DA denied him bail. It was almost like they were trying to make an example out of him. His fans were feeling like something wasn't right, and Thug's defense team was on the same page, showing a different side of Thug. Even music industry veteran Kevin Lyles stepped in and testified at Thug's bond hearing, explaining that Thug wasn't just an artist, he was someone trying to make a positive impact on the people around him.
It is our allegation that they operated as a criminal street gang and commenced.
So, have you heard about what's going on with Jeffrey N.O.? It's been all over the internet, but according to him, the way people are talking about it doesn't even come close to what's actually going on. Remember Jeffrey? The same guy who once gave a 15-year-old named Corey Jackson the clothes off his back? He took Corey under his wing, showed him the ropes, and even took him on tour, teaching him how to grind, stay motivated, and be successful. Corey himself said it best: you've got to share your knowledge, inspire others to rise up and be great too. That's the side of Jeffrey that a lot of people don't seem to see, something the media doesn't really mention. But then, just when we thought the drama couldn't get any crazier, things took a wild turn. Gunna, who's been in the middle of all this, was released from jail after making a plea deal in a racketeering case. People had very different reactions. Some were happy he was free, but a lot of fans and other rappers weren't having it. Everyone was talking about it on social media. Some were happy to see him out, but others were furious. Rappers like 21 Savage, Lil Baby, and Lil Durk didn't hold back, calling him a snitch and a rat. Take 21 Savage, for example. His song Letter to My Brother had some lines that seemed aimed straight at Gunna, like, once you cross that line, it ain't no trying to fix it. You want me to forgive you? Let's be realistic, I can't kick it with your kind like I tore my meniscus. How you go from co-defendant to a witness? And Lil Baby didn't sugarcoat it either. He actually stopped playing Gunna's song during a performance and just called him a rat. Lil Durk also made it clear in an interview that he doesn't mess with Gunna, saying, "That man told, you should have just kept your mouth shut." Gunna's return to the spotlight has been nothing short of a spectacle, sparking debate, division, and endless discussion in the rap world. To understand why his actions have drawn such intense scrutiny, it's important to take a closer look at the complex dynamics of loyalty and honor within the culture, especially in the wake of his controversial release from prison. Now, legally speaking, Gunna didn't technically snitch. The rapper wasn't called to testify against his peers or provide information that would have directly hurt them in court. His legal team negotiated a plea deal, which allowed him to walk free after pleading guilty to a racketeering charge. However, while that decision might have been within his legal rights, it didn't sit well with a large portion of his fan base and the wider rap community. In the streets, especially in the world of hip-hop, the concept of loyalty holds immense weight. It's not just about the law or technicalities, it's about standing by your people, even in the toughest circumstances. When Gunna walked out of jail while Young Thug and the rest of YSL Young Slime Life were still facing legal battles, that act alone was seen as a betrayal by many. It's important to note that the whole situation surrounding Gunna's plea deal comes down to a subtle but critical distinction between legal procedure and street code. Gunna never fully cooperated with authorities in a way that would have directly incriminated his friends and collaborators, but the mere fact that he pleaded guilty to a RICO racketeer influence and corrupt organizations charge while still managing to avoid a trial raised eyebrows. In the eyes of many fans, especially those deeply embedded in hip-hop culture, the mere act of pleading guilty was seen as a form of capitulation. It implied that he was willing to do whatever it took to get out, even if that meant putting a dent in the YSL collective's ability to defend themselves. Many fans were left asking, how could Gunna just walk out of jail while Thug and others remain behind bars? Did he just leave them to fend for themselves to outsiders? The situation might seem cut and dry. Gunna was just taking the legal route available to him. But in the world of rap, where friendships, alliances, and loyalty run deep, his decision painted a very different picture. It's like this: you have a group of people who have been through thick and thin together, and then one of them walks away while the rest are stuck fighting. That's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people who thought Gunna was a part of that tight-knit unit. This notion of loyalty, or the perceived lack thereof, isn't just a casual concern in the rap world, it's central to the culture. Take a moment to think about all the rappers and street figures who've been put to the test in similar situations. What do we see? Time and time again, loyalty is valued above all else. A rapper like 6ix9ine, who infamously snitched on his former associates, is often held up as a prime example of what happens when an artist chooses self-preservation over loyalty to their crew. Gunna's situation was different, but to the public, the line seemed blurred. His deal with prosecutors might have been technically legal, but it didn't erase the feeling that he left his team behind at a crucial moment. After all, it wasn't just about a plea deal, it was about how the public perceived him afterward. Fans expected Gunna to stay true to the street code, to fight for his people, and to maintain the solidarity that had defined his career up until then. Instead, he walked out of jail, and almost immediately, the internet exploded with reactions. The judgment was harsh, but understandable. When the news broke that Gunna was free, some celebrated his release, thrilled that he would be back to making music. But a significant number of fans were angry. They saw his release as a betrayal, and the questions began to roll in. How could someone who was such a major part of the YSL movement, someone who built his brand alongside Young Thug, turn his back on them when it mattered most? The controversy surrounding Gunna's legal battle didn't end there, though. After the dust seemed to settle, he did what many didn't expect. He dropped a new album, A Gift and a Curse, on June 16, 2023. The album wasn't just a musical comeback, it was his attempt to address the situation head-on. He wanted to clear his name, to explain himself, and to show that he wasn't the villain people were making him out to be. On the surface, it was a smart move, a way to regain control of the narrative and reassert his position in the rap game. But did it work? The short answer is no. In fact, the album might have only added more fuel to the fire. Gunna's decision to drop a gift and a curse raised even more questions. How could he possibly drop an album at a time when his crew was in the midst of a legal battle? To many, it felt like an attempt to move on with his life while his friends were stuck in the mud. The album itself, though praised by some for its musicality and his lyrical ability, felt tone deaf to others. How could Gunna stand on stage, smiling for the cameras, celebrating his newfound freedom, while the men who helped elevate him to success were still behind bars? To some, it looked like he was using his platform to capitalize on the very situation that had torn apart his relationships with his peers. At the same time, the album didn't address the heart of the issue, the snitching rumors that had followed him since his release. Sure, there were lines that seemed to offer some insight into his state of mind, but it wasn't enough to convince the people who felt betrayed. Many listeners felt that the album's themes of struggle and redemption rang hollow in the face of the very real and very personal conflicts that had been playing out behind the scenes. In the hip-hop world, music is not just an art form, it's a reflection of personal identity. It tells a story not just about the artist, but about their relationships, their loyalty, and their connection to the streets that birthed them. When Gunna dropped a gift and a curse, it wasn't just an album release, it was a statement. But whether that statement helped or hurt his public image depends entirely on who you ask. For some, the album was a way for Gunna to redeem himself, to explain that he hadn't betrayed anyone and that his decision was a matter of survival. For others, the release felt like a stark reminder that loyalty in the rap game is a currency that is often spent too easily. As the dust continues to settle around Gunna's release, one thing is clear: the debate about his actions is far from over. Fans are still grappling with the question: did he really do nothing wrong, or did he turn his back on the people who helped him rise to the top? It's a question that may never have a definitive answer. After all, in the world of rap, the line between loyalty and betrayal is as thin as a beat drop. Once you cross it, there's no going back. Gunna is still grappling with the aftermath of his controversial decision to take a plea deal, a move that has left his public image in turmoil. His album, A Gift and a Curse, was an attempt to reclaim his place in the rap world, showing off his musical talent with catchy beats and memorable hooks. However, for many fans, the album was more than just a collection of tracks. It was a statement about Gunna's loyalty, or lack thereof. His decision to walk away from his YSL crew during their legal troubles was seen by many as a betrayal, especially given the significance of loyalty in hip-hop culture. In rap, loyalty isn't just a theme, it's a foundational principle deeply tied to the relationships rappers form within their communities. Despite the success of A Gift and a Curse for some, the album couldn't erase the questions surrounding his commitment to the crew that helped elevate his career. For many, it felt like Gunna used the struggles of his collaborators as a stepping stone for his own gain. Meanwhile, Young Thug and other YSL members continued to face serious legal battles, adding more complexity to Gunna's situation. Thug, who mentored Gunna, embodies the loyalty and brotherhood that many feel Gunna abandoned. As Gunna moves forward, his career isn't just about music, it's about rebuilding trust and proving he hasn't lost sight of the values that once made him a beloved figure. However, the shadow of betrayal looms large, and whether he can recover his reputation remains uncertain. For now, Gunna's journey is defined not only by his music but by how he navigates the fallout from his past decisions.